Hey guys, what's going on? Sincere here with whoissincere.com and Anon Radio Live. Listen, guys, we have a breaking report. It's happening right now in Oregon. We know we just talked to you last night, Brandon, but you have some updates for us. So, as I promised you, we go live anytime you want to go live. What's going on, Brandon?
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Hey, so here's what we got going on in Oregon. We got information this morning from within the hospital in Burns, Oregon, with several different sources actually reached out to us with some concerns that the FBI has come in this morning and quartered off some rooms to set up as surgical rooms in the hospital. They're bringing in surgical teams, their own surgical teams. They have requested blood supplies, trauma equipment and supplies, as well as extra blankets and things like that. They are also requesting that the life flight be on standby on the ground in Burns, Oregon as soon as possible.
Okay, when you say as soon as possible, I want the listeners to get an idea of what you mean by as soon as possible. Are we talking about tomorrow? Or are we talking about today?
Well, we couldn't get an ETA on that. It's pretty hush hush. The three people that reached out to us were actually in tears when we spoke to them on the phone. They're scared. They're upset. There's obviously afraid of lashback on jobs and things like that. But as soon as possible, I mean, as soon as they can get that bird there on the ground. I'm not quite sure where it would come from, as far as maybe Bend, Oregon. But what this says to me is that they're ramping up for a potential situation. They're ramping up for a potential engagement.
Oh, no, no, no. It absolutely says that. I mean, you guys have put out your articles of resolution. You've gone to the compound. You've confronted them without brandishing your weapons. You've talked to the sheriff. You've pleaded with the judge. You've tried every avenue of civil communication that's possible. They have not reached back across the aisle to have that communication with you. And now they're ramping up and requesting blood, helicopters, and cordoning off a whole side of a hospital. So to me, that's ramping up.
Absolutely, and we've also got reports from our teams on the ground there, as well as community members, that as of this morning, through last night and this morning, there is a huge increase in FBI presence in the community with unmarked vehicles. They're running around town in tactical gear, meaning bulletproof steel plate vests, assault rifles, things like that. They're making that presence known. It's creating a very much of a concern in the community, and they're getting upset.
Okay, yeah, that's a reason to absolutely get upset. Is I don't know your connection with the community there. I know that you guys have been integrating, and these guys have, the community has been warm and inviting you guys in. Is there anyone that you know in the community within Burns? I know you guys are a few miles away, but anyone there that has surveillance on the situation in town?
Oh, absolutely. We still have a lot of team members there. We have a lot of people there on the ground. Um, there some are known in town, some are not. We have them
Okay.
strategically placed throughout the entire county, but we have a lot of people there on the ground, and that's where a lot of our intel is coming from there. But a lot of the locals have reached out to us with the inside type information.
Okay. Now, what is the plan? I mean, I'm sure you guys, of course, you knew that this was always a possibility. So I'm sure you guys didn't come to this situation, of course, blind. But, you know, given the factor that now you've had three people reach out, the tensions are extremely high at this point. What's the game plan? What's the next step?
Well, the first thing we need to do is get this information out in the public so the FBI and all the authorities over there know exactly what we know, and they know that we know what they're up to, and we're onto what they're doing, and they need to stop it right now. If they try to engage with those guys, we are bringing more manpower in by the hundreds as we speak, and we will make sure those guys up there aren't hurt. And what they need to do is they need to back down and back off and enter into some dialogue with these people and come up with a resolution that's peaceful, and not peaceful meaning not ordering blood and setting up your own trauma rooms to take care of FBI agents. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's an absolute problem. I, is there any contact numbers that you have with any of the FBI agents there on the ground, or even better, as you know, the sheriff and the judge, of course, they're in contact with the FBI. Has there been anyone that's reached out to those folks there in town?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we just spoke to the undersheriff of Harney County, and he said not for us not to worry about it because that was just standard operating procedures. This thing's been going on for 3 weeks, and they're just now implementing a standard operating procedure. That is an outright lie.
Yeah, that's an absolute outright lie. I think, given your background and given mine too, we both know about standard operating procedures.
Right, correct. I encourage people to call the sheriff's department. And that I can give you that number.
Yes, do you have that number there right now?
Absolutely. It's area code 541 573 6156. And I implore and encourage everyone to call the sheriff's office and tell them that they're not okay with those type of actions. The other concern that is an issue is that if they're going to quarter off portions of that already small hospital, that's gonna prevent services for local people. They got that corded off for their own law enforcement use. It's a very small facility as it is. So God forbid a car crash or something like that happen, but now we have a situation where it's going to limit the services for the locals.
Absolutely. And I think it's our listeners need to know all of this is avoidable. All of this is highly unnecessary because, as I stated in the beginning, you guys have been civil in your approach. You have reached out. As a matter of fact, the FBI agents at the gate where you were at the compound there, they actually they engaged in dialogue to the point where they started to get comfortable after a half an hour. And with that being said, I mean, I know everything is not peaches and cream, but with that being said, you would think that there would be some kind of dialogue that has started to happen, or someone higher up in the FBI chain of command, because so many of you guys went there by, literally the dozens, and peacefully requested to speak to someone higher before it would escalate into something like this.
Right, absolutely. We've been having that dialogue and trying to keep that open dialogue and letting them know, hey, let's come up with a peaceful resolution. And we've been stonewalled. The community's been stonewalled. The citizens there have been stonewalled. It's just really sad. And we talked about this last night about how they run two narratives. This is a perfect example. They have the narrative that they've been showing to the public by saying, oh, we're only here to support the sheriff's office. Well, that's a lie, because the sheriff has come out in public and said in his town hall meeting last week that he has given up the reins to the FBI and they're leading this investigation. And I don't see the sheriff's office up there cordoning off the hospital. I see the FBI doing it. I see a huge increase in FBI agents in town showing a presence and a command force.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I have a question for you. I'm not sure if you've gotten this far along. I know you're just, digesting all the information and it's coming in live right now. Have you got a chance to go up there to the ranch? I know you guys are doing, the perimeter thing now, but have you had a chance to run into him and maybe have a few words with him?
I sent him a text message waiting for a call back from him to bring him up to speed. I did talk to him first thing this morning, just my morning update, but that was before we got any of this information. So.
Okay, all right, excellent then. So as soon as he can get in the loop, that would absolutely be great, because it doesn't sound like these guys have anything good planned for you, for you guys out there. And our prayers are with you, but our support is also with you. If there's anything that we can do, that you can call this number at any time and you're going live, because we're not going to let this happen. This should not be happening in America. When you have good American citizens that follow the Constitution, many of them with a law enforcement background, good people that are saying we have grievances with the government, not local government, but federal government, meaning there is no higher level to go than federal government. So that means that those grievances must be addressed. And if those grievances are addressed anytime in the future after this conversation with force, then we know exactly who's in the wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of had we knew that if there might be some inside force within the county with Judge Grasty. We were also contacted this morning by a couple businesses in the area saying that they were told if they served us, anyone associated with Ammon or the organizations that are there in the community like us and others, their exact words were bad things will happen to them and they should not serve us. And that was to the hotels and the restaurants. I think what's happening, what we're seeing is we're getting closer to uncovering some stuff. We've uncovered some more information this morning on some corruptness. And you guys will be the first ones to get that information that we get out when we have it solidified. But I think what's happening is the pressure's on these guys now that we're uncovering these things. So now they're grasping at straws and they're moving to threat type tactics to intimidate the townspeople again, to push us away so we don't find anymore. That's not going to happen. We're not going anywhere.
No, absolutely, you're not going anywhere, and you shouldn't go anywhere. I absolutely agree with that. And I'm very certain. I'm actually. You probably don't know my background, but I worked for the military. I worked for the government for a few years, and I worked at a pretty high level with a security clearance. And I'm going to tell you now, what goes on behind those closed doors is about 10 to 20 years ahead of what's going on in reality. And the same thing is true for the FBI. So when I say that I know they're listening to this conversation and they've heard the other conversations, they're listening. So now is a great time to send a message. I mean, if they want to listen, let them listen to the real right now. What do you have to say to them, Brandon, to let them know that this isn't going to go down the way they think it's going to go down?
Well, first of all, you're on notice. You're on notice that you're in the public eye. There's people that are watching you now. The media is there, and we're going to make this public, and we're going to allow people to watch. And the people. This is in the eye of the court of public opinion, and they need to make sure they follow. The constitutional basis. They need to follow themselves in conduct themselves. In a in an appropriate manner. No one has even talked to or reached out to any of these people at the refuge. So why are we ramping up escalation of force when there's been no dialogue whatsoever? And I know the sheriff has said in the past we don't negotiate or talk to criminals who want to get their way, or however he worded that. But we discussed this last night, and how we left the show last night was they just did that with terrorists in Iran. So they need to engage in conversation with these guys up at the refuge, because I'm going to tell you, if they engage with them, it will start a civil war.
Yeah. It won't start. I think what they're thinking is they're going to walk in with all their tactical gear and their bulletproof vests and armored vehicles and undercover vehicles and just take over the situation. But they don't understand. They're not dealing with a normal element. They don't understand they're dealing with people who are highly trained, and then people who are highly patient on top of it. If your last few weeks there haven't proven your patience, then they're highly mistaken. So if they think that this is going to be the standoff that they're hoping to have, and be able to paint the picture that they want to paint for the public eye, I think they have another thing coming. And I think they should really reconsider their actions and probably just have several seats and really do exactly what you're saying, and come to that table, sit down, be grown men instead of little babies throwing temper tantrums with guns, and really resolve this in the way that it needs to be resolved. This is a simple land dispute. A simple land dispute, meaning a few words and a few documents can fix it. If bullets start flying over something that could have been fixed with a piece of paper, then we know exactly who's in the wrong, and that would be the United States government.
Absolutely. They're taking an aggressive manner. There's been no signs of aggression from our side whatsoever. I mean, we've even so much as brought them coffee, food, trying to show them we're not there to create a fight. We're not there for a fight. We're there to mediate. And there's been zero signs of aggression from our side or from the gentleman at the refuge. The only acts of aggression as of now has been with the FBI.
Wow. Well, Brandon, listen, If is there anything else? I know we have to let you go because you have to get back to the important task of what's going on now. Is there? We'll follow up with you later on tonight too, or whenever you're ready. You have my personal line. You call me and let me know when you're ready. I'll make myself available for the rest of the evening. Is there anything that you have left to tell any of us right now so that we can just be fully up to date?
We information as quickly as we get it, disseminate that once we have verified that it's factual and accurate information. We are putting out an all call to action. If you have the ability to get over to Burns, Oregon, get a hold of me directly, and I will get you plugged in. We need as many people there as possible on the ground on top of all the people we already have. We're not even calling for arms. We're just calling for people. If people are there and they can witness and be a voice, that's what we need.
That's a very good idea, Brandon. Again, listeners, everybody that's out there, Brandon, the Idaho 3%ers that are standing with those in Oregon at the refuge right now, they are not calling for an all-out army to come, but they're calling for every available person that's out there to come to stand in solidarity, to be a witness to what's going on. And the presence alone, and the eyes alone, can deter what these guys have planned. And I'm saying what these guys have planned because I understand how this works. I know you do too, Brandon. Not trying to fearmonger, but this is critical and this is real. This is right now, and people need to understand how important it is.
Absolutely, and this is not fear mongering. This is information that we're getting directly from the community. It's factual. It's verified. The only thing that we haven't put eyes on yet, and because it's from what our understanding it's not there yet, is the life flight helicopter. The only reason that they would take these sort of measures is because they're ramping up for an engagement. When the undersheriff tells me or tells one of the other Pacific Patriot founders that this is standard operating procedure, not to worry about it, that's a real concern because we've been there for 3 weeks and this hasn't been a standard operating procedure. So you got to read between the lines and see what's going on.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to give us? If not, I'll go ahead and let you get back to handling the business. I know you have a lot to do, and we'll set up we'll talk off air and set up a time for later.
Sure. The biggest thing to go, you're not sure how to go about doing that, you can go to our website, which is www.iii%idaho.org, and you can hit the contact us. That's an email that comes directly to me in my phone, and I will get you to where you need to go. We'll get you plugged in, and it's not about a call to arms. It's about a call for help. Every red-blooded American who thinks this is wrong and how this is going down and the overreach of the federal government is happening right now in Burns, Oregon, and we need to take a stand. Whether it's build a human wall, have a human wall of witnesses, whatever it needs to be, we need people there.
Well, I tell you firsthand, just before we get off air, that reminds me of something. You're absolutely right about the human wall. For all the listeners out there, listen. If you go on Google right now and you type in Desire Projects in New Orleans, if you read down the Wikipedia article, you're going to find a section in there where it talks about how the police officers in the federal government brought in 250 armed men, a tank, and helicopters. When they did that, the residents of Desire Projects came into the street, many of them children, most of them children. They came into the street, they provided a human barricade, and they sent the police officers, all 250 men, the helicopters, and the tanks back the other way, and they weren't able to complete their mission. So guys, if you want to know how important it is just to have your body there, just bring your body there and stand in solidarity with these people because they really need your support. And this is a cry for help right now because these times are getting critical, and we can't let the federal government just walk into a situation and handle it however they want to without at least trying to handle it in a peaceful manner.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of split decisions out there among the community, nationwide and worldwide, as far as if you agree with Ammon how he occupied the building. That doesn't matter at this point. People need to really understand. Even if you think he's in the wrong, he's still afforded his due process rights, and they haven't even had to try to have a conversation with him before they want to escalate to violence. and none of us would like that in our home. None of us would like that done to us. So it's a mute point on what you think of Ammon or how he went about what he did. The point is they're there. We need to keep them safe, and they are should be treated as human beings and afforded the same rights we all want. Period.
Hey, that's I can't end it any better. Listen, Brandon, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on and giving us an update. Our prayers are with you. We stand with you, and we'll definitely be on standby, waiting for more information.
Sounds good. Thanks for your help and thanks for getting the message out.
Hey, never a problem. We'll talk to you shortly.
Okay.